Okay, so there hasn't been a lot going on in the world of gaming as of late in terms of, I guess, blockbuster news or anything like that. But something that I am going to briefly talk about is the fact that recently there was basically a new Tomb Raider game that was leaked online. And this was something that was reported by comicbook.com. And pretty much there have been rumors swirling around on the internet since last year about us getting a new Tomb Raider game sometime in the future. And I believe last year it was mentioned that Crystal Dynamics had announced that they were working on a new Tomb Raider game, and it was supposed to be utilizing the Unreal Engine 5. Now, Tomb Raider is pretty much it's still a big attraction. Some people would argue that was not quite as big as it was back in the 90s or the 2000s to some extent, but I do feel like the quality of the games that we have gotten within the teens decade have basically been better. And on a commercial level, all of the games that came out, like from the Tomb Raider 2013 game to the Rise of the Tomb Raider game to the Shadow of the Tomb Raider game, all those games were massive commercial successes. I believe Rise of the Tomb Raider from 2015 did over 11 mil, and that was developed by Crystal Dynamics. Now, Shadow of the Tomb Raider was developed by Eidos Montreal, not Crystal Dynamics, and I believe that actually sold less, if I'm not mistaken. Did like somewhere around 8.9 mil, at least based off of what I know. And the Tomb Raider game from 2014, I believe, did over 14 mil. So some believe that even though the big Tomb Raider games from the teens decades have been like massive commercial successes, you're starting to see a trend where it seemed like at the start of the decade it was more popular than it was towards the end of the decade. And I would go on record and say that maybe it's because there's like a lot more action adventure games being made. There's a lot more competition. People are buying titles like God of War, like Marvel Spider-Man. We're supposed to be getting Marvel Spider-Man 2 sometime later this year, I believe. And yeah, there's just more options nowadays than there were, a decade ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. And as far as the new Tomb Raider game is concerned, I wouldn't be surprised if Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix didn't hold off until 2026 in relation to its release, because I believe 2026 is going to mark the 30th anniversary of the series in general, because I believe the very first Tomb Raider game was released back in 1996 for the PS1, and honestly it's really hard to believe that the series is that old, but at the same time it seemed like it's gotten better over time. Like the movies for Tomb Raider back in the day were awesome. Some people feel that some of the more recent films were impressive as well, but I do feel that Tomb Raider, even though it's a huge attraction, it's not quite as popular or big as it was about 20 years ago. That's just, I think that's just me. Maybe, that's not the case. Maybe the case is that, there's just more options nowadays. And I think because of that, Tomb Raider is just, it's always going to be fun. It's always going to have its hardcore fan base and all that stuff. But at the same time, again, there's more options. And I think for the most part, Square Enix has other games that I think are higher up on the chain that they place more priority over and all that. Because I believe Square Enix published like the last couple of Tomb Raider games, and for the most part, we do know that this new Tomb Raider game that's supposed to be coming out sometime in the future, it's going to be developed by Crystal Dynamics, and we have no idea exactly what to expect, whether or not we're going to get gameplay footage before the end of the year. I believe like either early this year or sometime last year, I was either wrote or made a video about the possibility of us seeing gameplay footage of a new Tomb Raider game sometime this year at E3, but apparently that's not going to happen because E3 2023 was canceled because a lot of video game corporations pulled out. Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, just a lot of corporations just felt no need to be a part of E3 this year. So I have no idea if that's going to eventually lead to just E3 just being just being defunct altogether. But we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, I'm looking forward to learning more about this upcoming Tomb Raider game in relation to details and I guess what game systems it's going to be available for.